The Michael Popok, Legal AF. We got some new micro polling out that should scare the living daylights out of Donald Trump because it means the Kamala Surge is durable, it's real, and it's gaining momentum among major voting blocks of women, Black, Hispanics, young voters all across the country in 13 different states, including in battleground states like Georgia. We're seeing a Kamala surge in voter registration. That's how we know it's real. This isn't just polling. This is micro data. This isn't just, well, I think I'll get around to vote one day. This is actual people putting their money where their mouth is and registering to vote, without which you can't vote at all. That's why voting registration is so important, to avoid disenfranchisement and voter suppression. But we're seeing a real Kamala Harris effect. It is overwhelming. It is huge, and it's going to doom the Trump-Vance campaign. And all they can do is attack in a disgusting, pornographic way, sexist way, racist way, Kamala Harris. All right? That's all they can do when they're not disrespecting veterans in Arlington National Cemetery and having a fight break out over their attempt to make a campaign video among the fallen. When they're not doing that, they're trying to take away a woman's reproductive rights, her bodily autonomy rights, the rights of families to reproduce the way that they can reproduce with the help of science. Standing in stark contrast to that is Kamala Harris. And since her nomination, since her becoming the nominee, we're seeing such overwhelming numbers of registration that have to be Democratic registration that it is even shocking the people that are in the business of voter registration. Let's take Georgia, for an example, and then I'll do 13 other states. Everything I'm going to tell you on this hot take is since Kamala got the nomination, since Vice President Harris got the nomination. Okay? Hold that in your thought. In Georgia, which is a battleground state, which was won by a razor-thin margin by Joe Biden, right? Less than 12,000 votes. And when Biden was still running for re-election, it was looking like it was going to become blue. It was going to become red and go Trump, not the other way around. Now, listen to these numbers. Black women registration for voting since Kamala Harris became the nominee up 75%. Hispanic voters registration is up 114% and 76% up in voter registration for under 30 voters, all since Kamala Harris became the nominee. You do the math. What percentage of that do you believe is Democratic voters eventually? I would say about 90%, right? And that's why it scares the crap out of the Republicans. These are not the Democratic demographics. These are not the demographics of the Republicans. These are demographics of Democratic voters. 75% Black women, 114% Hispanics, and 76% those under the age of 30. I haven't even talked about Asia Pacific, which is in about 500,000 or more in Georgia, which helped turn the election for Joe Biden last time, people of Indian American descent, and other places in Southeast Asia. Now, let's take that forward. What's happening nationally? Well, the micro data that's been collected by Tom Bonnier and posted on his social media says there is a tremendous Harris effect or Harris impact, Harris surge, as I like to call it. Let's do it. Let's do it from the highest level down to the lowest level and show you why Donald Trump should be in trouble. Well, I'll do it this way. Men have increased their voting registration in 13 states by about 17%. Okay. And overall Republicans about 8%. Compare that to the following numbers. Black women 18 to 29 since Kamala Harris became the nominee are up 176%, almost double where they were in 2020 and this is what the comparison is, and since Kamala, 176%. Hispanic women 18 to 29 are 150% up. This is in 13 states in voter registration. Black women of all ages up 100%. Black voters overall are up 8, men and women up 85% since Kamala. This is the Kamala effect. Women of all color, 18 to 29, are up 84% just because Kamala Harris and her attractive candidacy has become the Democratic nominee. Hispanic women of any age are up 78%. Voters of all hues and all ethnicities and all genders, 18 to 29, they're up 74% since Kamala became the nominee. Hispanic voters overall, 63% up. Democrats overall are up, male, female, black, white, whatever, are up 51% compared to Republicans at 7.8% in these very same states. Women overall are up almost 40%. Asia Pacific are up 32%. Men are up 17%. You see where this is going? Those Democratic voting blocks are going to bring Kamala Harris into the White House. Feels like everything has a subscription these days. Food, streaming, phones, even dog food. Rocket Money has helped me get a hold of what's coming out of my bank account in one place. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that empowers you to save more, spend less, and take control of your financial life. With Rocket Money, you can see all of your checking, savings, credit cards, and investments in one convenient place, allowing you to understand your spending trends. Rocket Money can calculate your monthly spending allowance and alert you when you're close to going over budget so you can save more and spend less. It helped me realize I needed to cut back on food delivery. Whether your goal is to pay off your credit card debt, set aside money for a house, or simply save your money, Rocket Money makes it easy. Rocket Money will even try to negotiate lower bills for you, sometimes by up to 20%. Saving money on a cell phone or cable bill and not having to deal with customer service yourself, that's a dream come true. Rocket Money has over 5 million happy members and has saved its users over $1 billion across all of the app's features. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Get Rocket Money today at rocketmoney.com/legalaf. That's rocketmoney.com/legalaf. Once again, rocketmoney.com/legalaf. And in contrast to that, you got Donald Trump, right? Who's trying to lean into whatever he thinks his competitive advantage is, and all that seems to be is a racist, personal, disgusting, sometimes pornographic, unpresidential, unhinged attack on his opponent, Kamala Harris, while she remains cool, unflappable, collected, a leader, poised, giving interviews appropriately, showing that she's not radical, presenting herself to the American people as somebody who can be trusted. Women can trust her. People who are disenfranchised and underprivileged can trust her. People who want an economy for all can trust her. People who want civil rights can trust her. Voting rights can trust her. Reproductive rights can trust her. And by contrast, you got Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, two white guys running around talking about how they want to take away a woman's right to choose by having a national abortion ban that they can't even get straight what their talking points are. And they constantly contradict each other when they're not together on the same stage. And even sometimes when they are. You've got that. And on the other hand, they're saying, but we're for families and IVF. You are? Then why are you attacking Tim Walz for using another type of technology and scientific technology to have his children? And why are you attacking one of his children who has a learning disability? I mean, this is all you got with Donald Trump. Because he's so unhinged and it's so baked into his DNA, this misogyny, this racism. He's seething. He's boiling under the surface. He says, I hate Kamala Harris. How do you hate somebody you barely know? You may disagree with her on policy. You may disagree with her on legitimate foreign or domestic issues, but you hate her. And it's that blind rage that's making Donald Trump have his mask slip and his true character and colors show on a daily basis. He hates women. He hates women of color. He hates successful women of color. He hates women who have accomplished more than he's accomplished without being born with a silver foot in their mouth. And so it all comes out. And he drags J.D. Vance along for the ride, even though he's married to what appears to be a reasonably successful woman of color. Because his natural instincts, his knee-jerk instinct is to attack somebody and call them racist words. That's why Donald Trump is posting on his social media pictures of Kamala Harris as a dung beetle with her photo covered with excrement, calling her trash, calling her the other, questioning her racial identity, questioning her intellect. That's a laugh. Saying that she only got ahead because she had relationships with men in a disgusting pornographic description. And he thinks this is going to help him with the voting blocks that I just read. This is going to help him with the almost 200% of Black women who are now voting for Kamala Harris through registration, 180% of Hispanic women, 75% of Black women in Georgia. And not just women. I'm a guy. I'm offended because I'm a supporter of women. I'm married to one. My mother was one, and my family and I gave birth to one. I'm a girl dad. But even if I wasn't, I've always consistently been a defender and supporter of women's rights in this country. And I know a lot of other men that are. So every time you think, oh, if I go after a woman vote, I kill a woman vote, I'll pick up a man vote. No, you're not. You're killing all the votes. All he's doing, as we know from this data, all he's doing is just activating and making more overheated his 40, 41, 45% base. Maybe he picks up a couple of points on independents, but he can't crack the 50% threshold with the campaign that he's running because this is him. This is his DNA. This is his genetics. It's not going to change in the next 70 days. Look at the data that I just gave you and what it means for Donald Trump. That's why voting registration is so important. And one of the things we're trying to do here on the MeidasTouch Network is to get people to understand. I don't know if your voting registration ends in September in your state or in the middle of October, whenever it is. And you might have to go through a number of barriers that Republican legislators in your state have imposed on you, but it's worth it. Voting registration groups led by Democrats and progressives who have never seen numbers like this before. They're shocked by the Kamala Surge and the Kamala effect. They're ready, willing, and able to help you work through the Byzantine barriers to entry that have been established to your voter registration. Bring a passport, bring a birth certificate. I don't know what you need in your state, but they do. And it's important that you figure it out now so that on November 5th, you're not just watching it on television, but you voted. It's that important. And it's that important that you figure out your early voting system and your extended hour system and your mail-in voting system. And you take advantage of whatever way of voting you're entitled to take advantage of, and you vote. But it all starts with registration. And those are the numbers that should scare the crap and do scare the crap out of the Trump campaign, because they can't change those numbers. They are never going to get the numbers I just declared to you. 180, 190% of a voting group for them to register now for Donald Trump. If you're going to vote for Donald Trump, you were going to vote for him in 2016, you voted for him in 2020, you're going to vote for him in 2024, and it doesn't matter what he did. He could be naked on fire, with two pistols, shooting them off in the middle of the street in a crime spree, and people are going to vote for him if they want to, if they were already inclined to. He's just not making any new voters, and the voting registration data tells us so. We'll continue to follow it all on the MeidasTouch Network and on Legal AF. We sit at the intersection of law and politics so you don't have to, and we bring it to you in a podcast we call Legal AF. Right here, there it is, a little ad campaign. It's every Wednesday and Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on the MeidasTouch Network. And on YouTube, free subscribe. You can help them get to 4 million free subscribers. We just hit 3 million. So proud of everybody in our audience for helping us get to that moment. And you can pick us up on all audio podcast platforms. So until my next hot take, till my next Legal AF, this is Michael Popok reporting. Heary, heary, Legal AF Law Breakdown is now in session. Go beyond the headlines and get a deep dive into the important legal concepts you need to know, and we discuss every day on Legal AF. Exclusive content you won't find anywhere else, all for the price of a couple of cups of coffee. Join us at patreon.com/legalaf. That's patreon.com/legalaf.